Most of us, when we use energy or we interact with the environment, we want to do the right thing. And it certainly seems that there are people out there that seem to despise the environment and think the purpose we are allowed to destroy this planet if we want, or they deny we're doing anything bad. But generally speaking, most of us have good intentions. However, if there is not any wisdom behind your actions, your good intentions don't mean anything. There are times when applying the Heimlich maneuver to a person is going to help them. There are other times it's going to harm them in a big, big way. Cartoons like this can be cute to illustrate the difference between the heart and the head, but how do you start a debate with someone by insulting them? It's not the way to go. This quote from Martin Luther King, I think, is a lot better, and it's far less confronting the other person, and it's certainly not starting the debate by insulting. We got to weld the two together. We have to know in our heart that we're trying to do the right thing, but if it's not alloyed with any reason, then our activities may not necessarily do any good. They may, in fact, do harm. And believing you are doing good when you are doing harm is one of the worst illusions you can fall under. In science, we want to make our decisions based on evidence. We do our reasoning, we can come to some conclusions and convince others that we have objectively come to a conclusion. I used to think that's the way everybody operated. Unfortunately, in common public practice, we will often draw our conclusions and insist they are right, contrary to any evidence. So someone could produce evidence that we're wrong, and we'll just ignore those facts. And we live in a world where even the US president recently talked about alternative facts, that they were simply going to make up the facts that fit. If we want to make a change to our energy usage, we must first look at how we use energy and what we can do to improve our lives that are from an evidence-based decision making. So, for example, I'm constantly talking about how shutting off light bulbs will not save the world. That's pretty much true. We're only using 4% of energy consumption in Canada for turning the lights on. So the best we can reduce our energy footprint is 4% if we live in darkness. And that 4% is dropping because light bulbs have gone from being very wasteful to very efficient. This light bulb is as bright as this one on 12 times less power. So the lighting technology is getting so good that reducing your lighting use is happening anyway. And it's getting better all the time. But we do heat air and water in our houses. And unless you got another idea of a gas you would rather breathe and live in, and a liquid you would rather bathe in than water, we're stuck with heating air and water. There's nothing we can do to replace water with another liquid we would rather bathe in that doesn't soak up so much heat. Changing a light bulb is easy. Rebuilding your house and ceasing to shower and using dry powders, it's just not going to happen. That's a much bigger problem to solve. In our homes, if we want to improve our homes, there are many designs, R2000, to lead to net zero homes that can cut our energy use for heating our homes to close to zero. That's 80% of your energy dropping off by building a home so much so that the heat of the people living in the house keeps it warm and that it's cool by the way you designed the property. It costs you $10 to switch a light bulb to one that consumes 12 times less energy. It will cost you $30,000 to solar power your home's electricity and save 4%. To get rid of that 80% usage for hot water and hot air, you got to buy a $400,000 new home. It's really expensive. These homes are being built, but as a solution to all the people in China that want decent housing, it's just an awful lot to deal with. We've got to find a way of saving the energy we use to heat our homes and heat our water. Our cars consume far more power than our houses do, and we're still using internal combustion engines that were designed a century ago. If we can switch to hydrogen and find a good useful way of making hydrogen, we could cut the nation's power to virtually nothing in terms of the transportation sector. And what we're going to look at how we can examine this is a thing called a Sankey diagram. I don't care that you know the name of the diagram. I just want to introduce you to the complexities behind the energy flow in our society.